You know what I'm saying?
All right, let's do it. We'll go on. 5, 4, 3, 2.
What's good? Lucky Lefty Podcast, the Honora Boys in the building.
In the building, in this building.
Usually you're on the left coast. I'm on Lake Michigan. We're in the band today. Together, man. Brought to you by Honora Whiskey, HonoraWhiskey.com. It's that premium American whiskey, HonoraWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure you do so
responsibly. But it's the end of the spring game, so maybe we go a little harder.
We got to talk about today, right? We got some big news left. Some big news. Some tears might be shed in the bend this weekend concerning the Notre Dame football program. And then on top of that, we're going to show love to the South Bend community coming up during the show.
That's right.
And we're going to talk about the blue and gold game and what to expect and some things moving forward outside of that going into fall camp. But it's funny because we were sitting here and we were kicking it with the crew before we got started, right?
Many stories.
We're talking about sleepers. I don't know if anybody out there knows about the game. Sleepers, if you ever
had to be born in the 90s for it.
So you guys didn't have sleepers at Notre Dame?
We play. Oh, listen, Notre Dame do play different games, because one, we had all boy and all girl dorms, so it wasn't even the same where I could just go down to the third floor and see all the girls. I had to go across the yonder.
Technically, you have boy and girl dorms. I mean, did you really have boy and girl dorms?
Not to play sleepers. We had boy and girl dorms, but not to play the games. You got to be low key, like put the sock on the door.
You guys were allowed in the girls' dorm.
No. They had to come over to our dorm. Going over there is like breaking into Rikers.
Really?
Yeah, what?
That's crazy. We actually had until 10 o'clock to visit.
It's about what? They say about 10 or 9, but then it's like you got to get out at that time where it's gonna get real hairy for you.
So we were talking about the crazy thing. We were talking about this documentary of Freak Meat that's coming out, right?
Yeah,
and we're talking about the difference between cultures, right? And it's very similar to what we hear in football, right? Because they tell you the SEC and the culture of football in the South is totally different than the Midwest and the West Coast. And it's the same thing when you hear about the culture in college, period. Yeah. Like if you've ever been to an HBCU football game, it is not like a Notre Dame football game. It's just not, right? Remember I told you about the difference in cultures at the United Center?
Yeah.
Like you go to a Bulls game one night.
80% of the people are not wearing Bulls attire.
You go to a Bulls game, it is a fashion show. You come back the next night for a Blackhawks game, it's kegs in the hallway. Yeah. Everybody's rocking a Blackhawks sweater. It's almost like a frat party, bro.
Seriously.
It's totally different. And see, that's the difference between a Notre Dame football game. I can't wait for the Tennessee State game.
That's right.
I cannot wait for the Tennessee State game. No disrespect to the Notre Dame band, but it's not going to be close.
It's not disrespect. It's the truth.
And letting you know now. And usually you have to wait for the fourth quarter to hear some tight music.
No.
At Notre Dame Stadium, halftime. The Tigers are going to light it up.
And they're going to show out, too. They at Notre Dame Stadium. They're going to bring out maybe a new song.
Now, unfortunately, they might be down by 40.
But listen.
They might be down by 40.
It's a cultural thing. They love to bring the music because that's how they win. They get their W's through the band, even though they don't take it on the field.
That's some good talent, man. They got some talent.
We're supposed to be the talented team to where we're not taking no slack from teams we're not supposed to. So, unfortunately, Eddie George got to catch a 50-point dub. But no, hang out with us. You can still be with us everywhere, and we can still be friends.
We're gonna treat them right, though.
We take you to Frankie's.
All Tennessee State fans, alumni, please come to South Bend. We're gonna treat you right.
Yeah.
Now you might not feel good around the second quarter.
That's just a few feelings.
Yeah, that's just the game, though. We love you. During the game, though, you might feel like
we don't like you.
You know how your grandmother would tell you to go get the switch off the tree. Tennessee State fans might feel like that. Like
Yeah.
they were told to go get the belt or the switch and take this.
And they coming back with the switch in their hand, and that walk is what they really nervous.
And then they
about.
had a nerve to tell you stuff like, I love you though.
Yeah, that's the psychological factor that gets you every time. Is this what love really feel like?
Yo, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, in conjunction with CFB Nation and Irish Breakdown. Matter of fact, hit that like button, right? The thumbs up on the YouTube channel, subscribe. When you hit that like button, it helps us with our views. We greatly appreciate you. When it comes to Apple Podcasts and Spotify, leave your messages. Leave us 5 stars. We respond to all messages and questions after the show. We greatly appreciate you, LL Nation. It's because of you that we keep doing what we do. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We give you audio edible every day.
Audio edible.
We are the home of the misguided passion. You already know. We spin it different. Can we start out with might end up being a tragedy?
Yeah, it's better to lead with the bad and end with the good.
According to sources, credible sources, there will be more than likely someone from the Notre Dame football program entering the transfer portal, possibly as early as this afternoon. We received this news and we're given the okay to go ahead and kind of preemptively talk about it. We'll allow it to happen officially before we dig into it too much. But it goes back to a conversation we had previously when we were talking about the staff coming in
Right.
and being very bold and having direct conversations, right?
Tough conversations.
Like coming in, having committed players in the 23 class. And Dylan McCullough says, I don't think
he's going to make it. Yeah, I mean, told the kid on campus as he's ready to commit.
No, he's already committed.
Oh, he's already committed. That's right.
And he calls, has a sit down with Coach Freeman and his parents like, thanks, but yeah.
And it sucks because it's not like he's not.
He's a very good player.
Yeah.
It's very good player. Cedric Urban Jr., father played running back in Michigan State. Yo, he's 4-star, solid player, but he's not Jeremiah Love. He was a borderline 5-star, top 50 player in the nation, who ended up committing to Notre Dame. So,
and it would have been the same. It would have been the same if we had Richard Young committing, the one that ended up going.
They ended up going to Alabama.
Alabama. So it's like, I love the approach.
Yeah,
that we're gonna get the best player.
Yeah.
Even though it takes some tough conversations to get there, but I don't know about this one.
This one is, when we get a chance to really dig into it, we're going to talk about that. The standard that has been set by Marcus Freeman, him and his staff, that they're always going to look to stir things up, right?
I mean, apparently they like the WWE. They need some storyline going because good grief.
And yeah, it's going to be tough when it officially comes down, but more than likely, a significant individual, a significant player on the Notre Dame roster might not even participate.
Yeah, he might not even be in the
blue and gold game.
Yeah,
and is more than likely going to enter the transfer portal.
And the potential we were excited that the kid had going into this year, having another opportunity with his boys, not getting hit from the side from things that could, take him off his path. And I think he was getting on track to being the player we thought he would be, the years before. But it's how college football crumbles.
Like, you've had this experience in this very place to sit and make a tough decision like this. How agonizing is it? Because most fans will look at this and it's either going to be black or white. Either, he's selfish, or, good luck to the young man.
That's right.
Right? But at the end of the day, people don't really understand the process and how painful
it
is for a young man to make a decision like this if it becomes official, like we expect it to become official in the next 24 hours. So with that being said, with your experience, what's it like?
Man, it's a real emotional experience because you it's so much to think about. You know, you're thinking about your career and how many years you have left to go to the NFL, which is, was my ultimate goal, but
Right.
also I'm sure it's a lot of other kids' ultimate goals. So when that's a factor, everything becomes more emotional because you like, there's no right answer. There's nobody that's gonna knock on your door and be like, "Oh, you should just do this, and then it'll work out if you do it." And then it's no right answer for you in that moment. You have to
Mm.
go restart the process, disengage, and be comfortable with leaving a situation where it's not how you thought it would be or how you wanted it. And I think those expectations you have for places that you commit to, it'd be different if it was just a visit. It was one of those choices between 7 or 8 different schools. This is a school you was like, okay, I'm gonna build out my career here. It's gonna be tough, but I'll work through it.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't seem like it's going to work through it because you're running out of time or things are happening that you can't control, it becomes emotional because you're like, man, I feel all alone in this situation. You was like, okay, the only people I can talk to about it that can understand or at least see it from your side are your parents. Can't go to your homeboy and chance he's stuck here and be like, tell me the next place to be.
Now your mom came up when you were making your
Man,
decision,
my
right?
mom, it was that serious. My mom came up and we was really trying to hash it out. And then, you're not on the team schedule anymore, really.
Mm.
So that's the other thing. You almost alienate yourself to get your mind right, get your business things in order. So now you're not hanging with your teammates.
Yo, so
You
you
feel
get
like a
kicked out the
regular student.
business like that?
It's not that you get kicked out, but you just don't want to come around a lot, and then, you don't want to run into those situations where you in the goo, you get tapped on the shoulder by one of these random security guards, like, hey, you can't be back here.
That is no longer, yeah, valid.
You can't be back here. So I think for what the kid is going through, it sucks because he's like, why are y'all not allowing me to be who I need to be here for the team? Because I'm sure he wants to have a huge impact on the team. He has a lot of value, I think, he can add to the side of football. But when it doesn't go how you want it, you can't get a clear answer, and then they start doing funny stuff.
Mm.
It's a mix of emotions. You're mad, first of all, you're frustrated, you're sad because you want to finish strong with your homeboys, and you gotta do what's best for you. So making that decision is just like, I can't mess it up. When you ain't got that many years. Well, for me, in my case, I had 1 year left. Now, for other people, that you see in the transfer portal, now they got a couple years. Like Drew Pine got 3 years. He can mess up again if he wanted to. But
Man, the transfer portal is like dating in high school, dude.
it
Like,
is
you're really never in a relationship. Like it's just
not
you're
the
just
way
waiting
that
for the next girl to come down the hallway. Like, oh snap, who was that?
That's right, and that's what it feels like. But at the time before the transfer portal, because when you have 1 year, it's an emotional thing. When you got one, when you can just get up and leave, it's like, okay, I fell down, I can scrape my knee, I can get up. But in this situation, I think it's a little more emotionally invested because of the time spent, but also the potential that I'm sure he saw himself at on this team this year, but also just moving forward and to not get that chance to feel like you can do it and being jerked around in different opportunities. You like, man, it's got to be the grass greener on the other side somewhere.
Lucky Lefty podcast. So we just thought we'd throw that tidbit out there today. You know, more information will be forthcoming. But as we said before, someone is going to be entering the transfer portal, according to our sources.
And probably get grabbed pretty quick.
I would venture to say, yes.
Yeah.
They probably have been contacted.
Yeah, they're not going to be
by
sitting there too long.
schools. Yeah. I don't think they'll have a problem at all. At all.
And on our case, losing one, are we going to add one? Are we asking guys to step up, step in? Or maybe guys have stepped up and stepped in where they've pushed
led to this.
They pushed the timeline up for some guys. So,
but you can't be mad at that.
No, not if you Marcus Freeman.
No,
because that means your future is bright. The future of the team is bright when my young guys is moving the timeline up of older guys. But it should stem a level of tension in the building.
Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it out there now. Look, the narrative that might come after that this certain individual might have been a problem and all of that stuff.
No.
Don't believe that crap. Stop. It's not the case. No problems, no issues.
Just a very serious kid.
That's a really tough decision. And you're a Notre Dame fan, it didn't go the way you wanted to go. You feel the way you want to feel. Keep it moving. Fall camp 23 season is right around the corner. Man.
No time for spilled milk because
Grace
of
and
the
favor
time
to the young man and his family.
Yeah, you gotta get moving, man. You gotta move quick because you don't want to get in the fall camp where you in a depth chart situation because you're there late.
Man,
That's
I just hope he doesn't
thing.
end up on the schedule this year. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't want to play him neither. I don't want to, especially the way he was doing in practice. So I definitely don't want to see that for 4 quarters. So maybe we send him back to not send him back, but send him to Northwestern. They like to give us all the players.
Looking up the podcast, you just lost me there. We are broadcasting live from Exposure Studios right here in South Bend. Man, we appreciate the crew that's rocking with us today, a crew of talented, anointed brothers, man, that are really blessing us.
Nah, straight up.
You know, to be able to go ahead and broadcast today and speak to Notre Dame fans. And they got quiet, man. I had one person, I said, man, look, you guys free tomorrow for breakfast? I had one of them say, yeah.
Yeah, that means
so they must, you know what I'm saying? They must have big plans to stay out late tonight.
Nah, straight
and
up.
sleep in tomorrow. You know, because I don't know how many people pass up
a good breakfast. Not just breakfast, a good one. One where you're gonna be like, man, I might have to get a little take home for a brunch later or something. You know.
So I told you I'm not a breakfast guy like that though.
Yeah, you said you wasn't a steak and eggs guy.
Steak and eggs is the worst thing in the world.
Really? What if it was a good steak though?
Nah.
It's just not the right time.
Nah, man. I'm a down south grits, bacon, eggs.
Sugar in the grits? Or salt in the grits?
Stop that.
Because in the South they use sugar.
Sugar in the grits.
That's what they use.
That's cream of wheat. They have that in a box. It's called cream of wheat. What are we doing? Grits and salt, butter. That's it. Little pepper.
Yeah. Salt, butter, that's
salt,
it.
Butter,
they get
pepper.
fancy. Okay, so that's the same as they putting salt on watermelon. I think that's crazy.
I've actually tried that.
Oh my God.
I said I tried it.
Why would you? Yeah, I'm about to say, why would you?
I tried it. Someone offered it to me. I tried it.
And you?
I said it's interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's something that you wouldn't just snack on.
No. Let's snack on this Notre Dame offense.
Okay.
Because under Jared Parker, or Gerard, as you call him, you turn him into a British star. Every time we talk about the new offensive coordinator at Notre Dame, he is under the microscope to see, number one, how he's going to elevate this offense.
First and most important.
Would say in his first year, taking over for Tommy Rees, he probably has more talent at the key positions. What's your thoughts on that? How much pressure is that for Jared Parker?
I think it would be pressure if he had the situation that Tommy had last year. I think it'd be a lot more pressure. You got a quarterback that you didn't plan to start the year with, that's getting interjected. You lose your guy for the whole year. You're not expanding, or you don't trust the receivers that we have, either to be youth or whatever the case is. And the fact that we're force feeding the ball, I think that's a lot of pressure.
You think that's pressure?
Only pressure when you're expected to win those big games.
It's more pressure when you're dating the prom queen. Because the Wolves are all around. They didn't have a prom king or queen at quarterback last year.
That is true.
I don't even know if they have one in the wide receiver room as far as production.
We don't have a Charlie Jones.
No, they did not have a freaking Charlie
Jones. Did not,
and
maybe not now. Shout out to Charlie Jones. He had a huge productive year. That's the only reason why we mentioned it.
I want to see where he gets drafted.
Indianapolis or Buffalo, Green Bay,
Patriots.
He gonna land on the team.
It seems like a Patriots wide receiver. Him and Mac Jones can get things done.
Well, the Patriots got to hire an offensive coordinator. I've never heard an NFL team go into the season without an OC. They got their DC calling offense.
What's the most interesting and what's the biggest advantage for Jared Parker?
The biggest advantage for Jared Parker is that he has two guys that are very capable. One can't stay that healthy all the time, but he's capable when healthy. Also a veteran in an offense where you're not changing everything. So that's a comforting feeling. And then you got Sam Hartman, who is quote unquote ready to package made, ready to play.
AKA the savior.
This I wouldn't put it that far,
I'm
but
just telling you the way Notre Dame fans feel.
He gonna have to save us in these 3 games. So if his job title, I think gives Gerard Parker an opportunity to say, hey, if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, I'm good with TB. And I think he should approach it that way because then it will be fair to fully invest in Sam Hartman getting ready. You know Tyler Buckner's sipping pineapple, banana, mango smoothies, so he's comfortable with what you're doing. Even mentioned that you're slimming down stuff. So from a getting ready standpoint, that's not Tyler Buckner's issue. Getting Sam Hartman ready is the issue, and it should be the most important thing that if you're the offensive coordinator, you want to make sure that goes right first and foremost. Now, if you do all the prep for Sam Hartman to get ready, and by week 4, when we play that big game and we lose and he doesn't do well or whatever the case, I'm interjecting TB the next game moving forward. Because if I'm Jared Parker, I'm like, this is not a 1 year for me. I'm trying to be here for some years. So I need to be working on the roster. I need to get Tyler Buckner going because I'm really worried about Kenny. So Sam Hartman is just a year, no matter how you split it, dice it, whatever you want. Sam Hartman is only 1 year. And I need Sam Hartman to be good for 3 games, if I'm being realistic about it. Because honestly, Tyler Buckner can win him 8 other games. He can beat a Pitt. He can beat a Duke. He can even beat a Stanford.
Heck, he darn near beat Ohio State last year.
And he darn near beat Ohio State. So if I'm Jared Parker, I'm like, okay, at least I know I got some sort of a shot caller. 2, I can miss on 1 and still have something I can save with. So outside of that, the second thing I would be thinking if I'm Jared Parker is how can I elevate the offense, like you said? And it's obvious. It's the thing about Notre Dame's team is we have obvious holes to fill. It's not like, oh, it could be the running game, it could be the passing game, it could be this, it could be that. We obviously know our passing game is atrocious.
Based upon last year.
Based upon last year and to the standard of the teams that we're supposed to be competing against. We are far from having a Heisman receiver like Alabama and Devontae Smith. Far from it. But we trying to beat Alabama. So we're working on making that more explosive. And I think the best part is we have the talent to see if we do got it.
What's the bigger story? The improvement of Tyler Buckner or the struggles of Sam Hartman, according to what we've seen?
Because of the height of what they was giving Sam, I think people will be more disappointed in Sam not being Peyton Manning on the first game.
But it's not fair.
We
tried to warn fans.
It is fair.
He's going to struggle coming from a different offensive system.
Different level of football.
Being under center.
Getting
used to that. Calling different plays. Having different checks. And it's Notre Dame. It's not Wake Forest.
It's not Wake Forest.
It's Notre Dame. That's a totally different pressure. And we tried to tell people, look, let him go through the process. Don't expect him to be the savior. He's not about to win you games, but he has to be a humongous, impactful call.
Yes, we have to be
why you win games.
We have to point to the review of the game and be like, I'm glad we got Sam Hart.
Absolutely.
Because other than that, if it's literally not that impact, I don't know why we don't go with Tyler Buckner. He's faster, a bigger presence athletically, in my opinion, more of a threat because you have to stop the run game and you have to stop the pass game. People are not worried about Sam Hartman going nowhere. Sam Hartman told you in the clips, what was the second? What was it?
Facts.
He tell you where he going down.
Facts.
He like, yeah, you got me, bro. I was dead in the water.
Facts.
I don't want my quarterback talking like that on this level. Because if we got a guy that can get away, Put him in the game. So Sam got to come out here and show for me. And, you know, in how it contributes to winning, I want to see accurate third down and long passes completed. I want to see the ball thrown to pass down the field more than 3 or 4 times in the game. I'm trying to see the intermediate. I'm trying to see the short game. You know, show me why we got you.
Yeah.
Don't go out there and make me regret that we lost we lost Drew Pine. It's just a 10 with a different name. You know, we don't want that. Because if that's the case, rock with Tyler, like we said 2 years ago, and we would never be in this
You
situation.
might have been the only person
We've never been in this
from
situation.
the day Tyler Buckner got to campus to say, let him play and let him learn. And eventually you'll have a championship quarterback. You said that when he got here on campus his freshman year.
Because it was the only way to go about it. Because if you don't, you're running the risk of him not developing like he should, but you also have the pride and ego to say he's not a backup. So now you stuck giving him competitions every year, not giving him a chance to develop the right way or have his own offense. So it's a wild card. Now he hasn't been able to stay healthy, which is the bigger issue. But from a relationship standpoint, how do you develop a relationship with your quarterback doing that? You know, it's his third year, and his third competition with a guy who's never had competition. Number one, Sam Hartman went in there and started freshman year. So
look,
it's just a lot.
You know what's challenging or will be challenging for Jared Parker? Having an uber talented backfield.
Oh man.
But having a really good quarterback. How do you balance that, man? As a play caller, right? You're an offensive coordinator on the high school level. Like, how do you balance having a talented wide receiver group, up and coming? They're young, but they're up and coming. They're promising. A quarterback that's throwing for over 12,000 yards on the college level.
Got mileage.
But the backfield is crazy, and the offensive line is bananas.
The offensive line gives you a chance to do anything you want. So I think that's the best part about it. Like,
so for you think Jared Parker is playing with house money?
House money all day. All day. Because first and foremost, you have an offensive line. 2 years ago, we saw our offensive line be average.
Oh,
people
we
thought
were complaining.
The world was the over.
And what did you say? What did you say? When Notre Dame fans were standing on the ledge about to jump, you said for once in a lifetime, Notre Dame fans get to experience an average ordinary college football offensive line.
That's the first. And we were about to die.
You said we were spoiled.
We definitely were spoiled.
We were definitely Harry Heastand spoiled.
So if I was Jared Parker and I had the offensive line from then, I would be a lot more nervous than I am now. This is how you got 2 tackles that are first round tackles. 2.
Yeah.
A center who's up for an award.
Yeah.
And 2 guards that are very capable.
Yeah, they have to prove it.
They have very capable.
The talent is there, absolutely.
So
depth behind them,
and then you put behind that a running back group that you could just close your eyes and be like, all right, you up next, and you go after that, and you will get great production. To the point where we had to move a guy who we felt was good at a running back position to a receiver.
And the best running back all spring has been a running back that has yet to see the field at Notre Dame.
The best running back was the running back that got chose first overall.
Yes.
And didn't play last year.
Didn't play last year. And he has
and might not start this
year. He's been phenomenal all spring. Phenomenal.
And might not start this year because of seniority. I mean, it would almost be disrespectful to roll him out over Aldridge because Aldridge ain't do nothing but do good. But Jabron Payne is very nice, and I've been telling you.
Of course, why? Because he's from Ohio, right?
It's deeper than that. When you the number 1 pick in the spring game, what's that say?
Oh wow, wait a minute.
What's that say?
I didn't know the number 1 pick in the blue and gold game had that much weight. Wait a minute.
What does it mean on the team, though? What does it mean about his teammates? I'm not saying. I'm not saying it means
the respect of the teammates.
And but to not play a snap yet and you get first pick, it's got to go a long way somewhere. Marcus Freeman was probably surprised. He was like, you first? Because guess who was after him?
Aldridge.
So it would be disrespectful to put him over Aldrick game 1 in Ireland. Because Aldrick gonna be like, dang, he ain't got a step yet.
So Jared Parker comes out in 4 wide tomorrow. First play. Prop bet. Malik is gonna say what?
I would take that. I think I would take it because I think he would do it to be like, I'm not Tommy. I would do that to say I'm not Tommy.
To show us a new day.
And you could go back to 11 personnel the next play, but just flash it for us. Just be like, this is what we can look like. A Deion Cosley, a JT, a Chris Tyree, and then not a tight end. We might even go empty. They might even say, you know what, Jabron, you play so well, you gotta play, and then we'll just keep Aldrin and just go empty first play.
Notre Dame fans are losing their minds right now. Like, okay, now you're talking about going empty. That's a little bit too far. That's a little bit too far. We get back to the 2 tight ends. Lucky Lefty podcast once again broadcasting live from Exposure Studios right here, South Bend, Indiana, talking Notre Dame. We've already discussed some unfortunate news that will be coming down the pipeline. Talking about Jared Parker and the challenges as the first year offensive coordinator replacing Tommy Rees, who's a legacy, alumni.
That's the same thing as how you say, if Marcus Freeman win a championship in 3 years, is it better than Kelly's whole tenure?
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. LL question of the day. LL Nation, let us know. Yo, if it goes down and Marcus Freeman wins the championship, is his tenure better than everything Brian Kelly ever did?
That's how y'all equating it, fans out there.
But the quarterback is better than Ian Book by default.
By default.
And that's the all-time winningest quarterback in Notre Dame history.
Winningest.
Think about that. It's been 35 years, bro. Let me tell you something. This fan base has suffered a long time when it comes to championship aspirations.
Yeah, that's 100% true. And I think that we're closer than we've been in years before. I think out of the 35 years we've been wanting this, I think this is the closest we've probably been.
I think the closest, because that's my opinion.
Because we wasn't close in 20.
The closest they've ever been, in my opinion, was 15 to 18.
Yes. 15 was okay. You're right. 15 was the one I knew for sure. If everybody stayed healthy, we would win for sure. I knew that was 15. 18, I felt like that up until I realized that their quarterback versus our quarterback, who was better?
Yes.
And that's the only reason why I didn't feel
so basically saying if Dabo had stayed with Kelly Bryant,
we would have won that game. Even though I love Kelly Bryant. I saw him in the US, was it XFL?
Yes, XFL, yeah.
And he played pretty good. Shout out to Kelly Bryant. But listen.
So you think we're closer than 15 and 18?
I think we're closer than 18 because I think our quarterback room is better than Ohio State's, Alabama's, Georgia's, because they're unproven all around. And I'll say Michigan because we got more than one capable quarterback. Michigan got some guys that are unproven that are talented, but that's JJ's room, So the only room I don't think we have only room I think we have a worse quarterback room than, or not even worse, or comparable would be Michigan. Other than that, I'll take our room over Alabama because Alabama's got to figure out who their guy is. Ohio State has a guy that they like. This is not what we're used to. This is not CJ. This is not Dwayne. It's not Justin Fields. It's not Braxton. This is like 2002 quarterback. What was his name? Number 11.
2002?
The bald white dude. The quarterback from Ohio State when they played Miami.
Oh, in the championship game.
Yeah. That was the last time Ohio State quarterback was
Krenzel. Craig Krenzel. 16. You threw me off with 11.
16. Craig Krenzel. That's the last time Ohio State's quarterback has been.
Chicago Bear, by the way.
He didn't stay very long.
On that list of Chicago Bear quarterbacks. Boy, oh boy. Can you wonder why they fell in love with Justin Fields so quick?
I'm telling you, this is the first time.
Bear quarterbacks.
This is the first time Ohio State hasn't had a de facto X factor at quarterback. The first time in about 10, 11, 12 years. So how are they going to respond to that? They ain't used to, because they're used to saying, okay, we can call left, right, up, and down. And our quarterback is so good and our receivers are so talented, They're gonna make it look. They're gonna make it look right.
Yeah.
Now you're like, we got to get a game plan for Kyle McCord. We got to know his favorite things. We got to run the ball more. We gotta strategize a little bit better. That's a lot to think about.
Uh-huh.
And thinking about our game last year, Ohio State wasn't thinking about us until it looked like the couple weeks before the season started. They're going to have to start playing it right now for us because, one, we already know what they got going on. Secondary still hurting, still trying to figure out the defense. Our offensive line is going to be way better. Our defense is way better. So from a paper standpoint, I 100% believe we can get the job. And it's at home. You saw what we did to Clemson at home. We made them look like an ACC team. I mean, they are an ACC team, but we put them back in the pot with the other ACC teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they tried to jump out the pot. We put them right back in. So I think if we show what we can do against Ohio State early in the season, I do think it sets a precedent that we got the only – okay, that's right. The only room I think is a little more talented than us is Ole Miss, but they ain't winning nothing this year. So from a playoff threat, I think we got a great chance of winning it all.
Well, I think that's when Marcus Freeman went out and got Sam Hartman, right? Because he felt like if I get a quarterback, we have a chance to win a national championship. Now, the fact that he went hard at it in the last year of the format as we traditionally know it before expansion hits.
Yeah, that's the best way. Yeah, this is the best format for us.
It's interesting, right? Because Notre Dame has no opportunity to be in the top 4. Once the expansion takes place, the highest they can get is the 5th seed.
Because you have to almost recruit different when you get to an expansion playoff system because how it's set up now is perfect for us. We just got to stay the course. And the way the numbers are break down, they're going to give us a chance in there.
Yeah.
And then out of the 4 teams, I honestly believe the 4 teams that are going to make it, including us, will be 3 other teams. None of them are going to have a better quarterback room than us because the best quarterbacks in the country are on crappy teams. I'm not going to say USC's crappy, but USC never has a defense. So I'm not worried about them going and having further playoff aspirations, even though they have a great quarterback. And then Drake Mays with North Carolina, and what are they going to do?
Right.
They got to worry about beating Clemson every year.
Yeah.
So the best quarterbacks in the nation aren't on those Alabama and LSU teams this year. Well, Jaden Daniels, I think, is probably the best out of the group in the SEC. I wouldn't put Joe.
Let me tell you something. My sleeper team, honestly, is Washington.
Michael Penix Jr., but you know the problem with Washington is
their defense is going to be much better this year.
We hope so. Because if it is, they'll be a playoff team.
You give me 2 first-round wide receivers, I'm okay with that.
No, yeah, straight up.
Give me a good quarterback and 2 first-round wide receivers and a good offensive line. Thank you.
That's probably the most exciting team to watch this year. I think, if anything, Jared Parker should be taking some plays from up there in Washington because I know they got some high flying. They got a cool offense. I already know I'm about to watch that offense put 40, 50
Pac-12
points.
Is like allowing kids to trick or treat in the neighborhood and then just snatching their bags. Like when they're done. Let them do all the work. It's just that easy, man.
It is that easy.
It's that easy to run offense in the Pac-12. So defensively, though, now Al Golden in his second year, we expect them to be more aggressive, right?
Because of comfortability.
Absolutely. But we want him to kind of let the guys play, right?
Yeah, you want to.
Defensive front is more athletic.
Yes.
Than what we've had.
And versatile.
Your linebacking core should be more athletic, depending upon the rotation.
They are. I'm not even going to say they should be. They are more athletic. From the spots that we supposed to field, we filled them. Yeah. Now we just got to put them in the game.
Yeah. So, without question, the biggest issue facing the Notre Dame defense is.
It's a lot of good highlights, to be honest. I think the biggest is the unknown about stopping the run game. I think that would be my biggest because I thought we had a pretty good defense last year, and I thought we had a pretty good defensive line last year. But the numbers wasn't making sense to stick to what the talent was on our side, on that defense side of the ball. So the not knowing yet until we get there will be the biggest question on, are we going to be able to stop the run game like we should? Because everybody else is elevated. I think the passing game, we won't worry about that as much like we have in years before. We've seen our linebackers get better athletically and younger, and all of our guys are healthy. So stopping the run game or just being a force in that run game, I think spells, especially D-line, spells for a championship type of season. And we got the transfers. We got the younger guys getting older and more mature. We got the vets that's ready to go for their last year with a Riley Mills and that sort of thing. So I think it's set up for us to be very, very nice.
Yeah.
But until we get there, it's still on the outs if we can hold these running backs to under 100 yards a game.
We hear about these springtime warriors, right? People are like, coming on and being great in the spring doesn't mean anything.
Yes, it does.
I mean, it's practice. I would much rather you make plays in practice. That makes me feel some type of way.
Yeah, because I know that if anything else, you're going to do your job.
Right. So Jason Onyé, man, he's been dominating. And people are like, well, can we really depend on him?
He said people can't guard him. And not him.
No, his
teammates said
no one can block him. So I don't know what else to say. We told you, this podcast, that even though they lost a lot of leadership, guys like Isaiah Foskey, guys like Jason Adamiola, Justin Adamiola, to the NFL draft, that this defensive line would be more athletic and would be deeper and better.
Because if they were this last year, you would see a lot more rotation.
Yeah.
You would see a Jason Onyé last year.
Yeah.
But evolution of our talent and recruiting, I can't wait to see Tyson Ford. That's one of the guys I can't wait to see, Tyson Ford. But Marcus Freeman understood the assignment. He probably came in, evaluated, because he was already on the defense side of the ball. So he was probably looking like, man, I can't wait to just move pieces around and get some guys. I think he has a huge Ohio State factor influence. That's how we got John Baptiste. I think that's what made it so fast, because, usually guys like that are taking tours all over the country. They got 57 schools, one because he's at Ohio State. They just said he committed one day. like Marcus Freeman was like, yeah, you're coming right over here. I ain't gonna waste no time. And honestly, I think that helps because that name alone, we get Ohio State transfer. That sounds way better than Northwestern pickup.
Yeah.
I can't even say transfer. That was a pickup. We picking it up. Ohio State was a transfer because it was of equal value. We really got us some bona fide. These Northwestern pickups, we have been helping them. I mean, we gave a guy a Super Bowl opportunity.
Yeah.
And I was complaining on Twitter the year before, who was 11? I'm like, we get tall wide receivers. Who was that? So.
Lucky Lefty podcast. It's for the culture Friday, Left.
That's what it is.
We do it for the culture.
Got the easy.
So anytime we do it for the culture, we have to talk about something in film or something in music. Can I tell you about a recent interview I heard?
Talk to me.
Have you heard Chloe Bailey's new album?
Oh, I haven't.
If you think SZA has a lot of pain from relationships, check out that Chloe Bailey album.
Really?
Oh.
What kind of relationship? DDG got her going crazy like that?
Oh, man, the features are bananas. Now she has a song called she has a song called Cheat Back with Future.
Oh man, that's the most toxic song in the world. With Future? Shit.
Future elevates it though.
100%.
Future elevates it. She has a song with Missy. I mean, it's Missy Elliott.
That's for the culture though. That's like, I got Missy on. Oh,
right.
It's Missy.
Right.
That's instant respect. Whatever.
So, dude, her best song, in my opinion, is the joint she has with Chris Brown.
Chris Brown can drop a nice feature on you.
I'm a big Chris Brown fan. That's almost like a breakup love song at the same time.
That's hard to explain. A breakup love song.
So it goes to the next LL question of the day. Ladies and gents, this goes both ways. What album did you listen to in the car by yourself that you are not willing to tell anybody that you used to rock when you were by yourself? Think about it, Left. Think about it. Think about it. I listened to Chloe Bailey on the way up here, man.
Oh yeah, that's why you in depth. Because I'm like, how do you
I knew
know?
it would be great content, but I just wouldn't tell normal people.
Well, yeah, but I say, was it
in the
a
car
great
listening to
content or
Chloe
were you
Bailey for
interested?
like an hour.
Yeah. I can tell you mine. Mine was Gym Class Heroes. I don't know if you remember them.
Word?
I was a big Gym Class Heroes fan for the short time they was a thing, I guess. But they had like 1 or 2 songs I was really rocking with on the tape, and I actually went and bought the tape from Best Buy.
Really?
That's the one of the 2 tapes I've ever bought. It was that Gym Class Hero tape, and it was Kendrick Lamar's tape.
What is
His first album.
The 50 was Section 50?
No,
mixtape?
not Section 80. The one
Good
after
Kid,
that.
Mad City?
Good Kid, Mad City. That was the only 2 tapes I've ever bought. And you know, it's to burn CDs sometime, but I don't.
So most, like you'll never catch me listening to Beyonce by myself. In the
I
car.
agree with you on that. I wouldn't do it either.
Never.
Not even on the radio. I'd turn it to
No.
a different channel.
No. Most of the time, any female R&B artist, no.
Wait,
Any pop,
I can't say that.
This
Summer
is-
Walker.
This is this left coast influence on this.
I
dude
have
right here.
I'm proud of it though. I listened to Summer Walker's whole
Summer
album.
Walker is like
from
the
beginning to
NWA of R&B.
Yeah.
Is she not?
Yeah, okay, well that
She's
counts.
like busting through the signs
Yes.
like NWA did back in the day. She is that for R&B,
Yes, so that's
unapologetically.
the female I listen to, and I sing all the songs.
You singing the songs
I
in the
sing
car?
Man,
Left, what are you
I
doing?
switch up. I switch
Wait a
up
minute.
the
Left.
pronouns in there, but I'm singing them. She got some heat.
You singing the songs in
I'm
the car
singing
by
the-
yourself
I'm singing the songs.
to Summer Walker?
SZA, I'm gonna sing a couple, but I'm singing them Summer Walker
Left.
song.
I don't know.
Look, she has great music.
Left, this might come up again next week during one of the shows, bro. We might have to run this video back.
I'm telling
We
you,
might have to run this video
man,
back.
Summer Walker's tape, you can play it all the way through. It's all bangers.
Really?
Oh, what? Man, listen, you think you listen to Chloe Bailey? No, listen to Summer Walker's tape before her babies, before she had babies, because her music got trash after that. But when she was going through the relationship stuff, you know, the love breakup songs, a whole album of it.
Why are you singing the songs though, bro?
Man, it's
What's
it's
the
a good
relatability?
song.
I sing songs I can relate to, bro. Right? I sing Tribe Called Quest,
Sean always
I
taking it too
sing-
deep. It's just a
I
song,
sing-
Sean.
NWA. I will sing. Why are you singing Summer Walker songs? What is within you
Okay, I can be
that you
fair.
can relate to?
They were on the top of the charts.
What?
They were on top of the charts, so it's not like I'm just listening to her interludes and just being like, "Oh, I love her interludes." It's a common song on the radio.
I say, look, I can give you a pass if the song is a bop.
It is a
I
bop.
don't know. For example, you know, all of us in here, if we're riding down the street and Pressure by Ari Lennox comes on the radio, it's a bop,
That's a bop.
right? So
Ari
if you
Lennox
get
got
caught
good
singing
bop.
the hook, you know, over and over again, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
All right,
That's a bop.
that's a bop though. That's
Like,
a bop.
Any bop, I can give you a pass. Summer Walker, huh?
Man, listen, when you get in that car,
no,
nobody's
no,
around.
when you get in the car.
I already know.
Not when I get in the car. when you get in that car.
When nobody's around,
Okay.
just go on it and just play around. Just pick a song, because all the songs are fire. That's why I listen to it. And SZA got half to SZA's tape I like. The other half I'm like, I don't get it. But the first half, I'll sing a couple of them songs that she
Summer
got.
Walker.
I'm telling you, that pink tape when she on the phone with the do-rag, that whole track is heat.
Wait a minute. Let me just go over, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just
Don't read the song.
give
You
you
gotta
some of
read
the
song titles.
songs that Malik listens to and sings
He talking about the
in the
song
car
titles.
by
Okay.
himself
Okay.
out in California. Playing games.
Song titles, man. Listen.
I'll kill you. Body. Come through.
No context. These are no context. These are song titles.
Oh,
But if you play it from one to the end, it makes sense. You see what I'm
Potential.
saying? Yeah.
Fun Girl. You seen that one? You
See,
singing that one,
see,
Left?
he like to pick out the
You
one
sing,
that sounds
I'm just going
crazy.
through the
I'm
list of
just
songs, fellas.
see here.
That's all I'm doing.
We haven't played the songs. We're just saying
Did
the
he or did he not
titles.
say he listens and sings to Summer Walker in the car by himself? Did he or did he not say that?
Because they're bops.
That's not. Wait a minute. None of the songs that I've read off.
No song title
They're
gonna tell
not
you it's a
popping
bop though.
singles.
No song title gonna tell you it's a bop. That's why we gotta.
So she has 15 bops.
If our crew just started playing the music in the background, you'd be like, "Who is this?"
So you would get a VIP ticket to a Summer
See,
Walker
taking it-
concert, wouldn't you?
Why would I go to the concert?
You would be in the third row
when I
singing
got the music
to
to
her.
myself in
I
the
just
car.
asked the question.
I
If
ain't
you
going
went
to-
to see Summer Walker in concert, you would be in VIP, wouldn't you?
No, I would not. I would be in the arena, but I would also be with somebody that wanted to go. I could go by myself.
Girl needs. Oh, I know you sing this song.
But that's the one with Drake.
Because it's with Drake.
It's the
What
Drake.
you think Drake is the greatest artist in the history of mankind. So
Drake
I
is the
know you
best
sing that
right
song.
now. If you can cross over decades, you got to be something.
You act like he's the first person to ever cross over decades.
Wait a minute.
LL Cool J crossed over decades.
Whoa.
Back in the early 2000s.
LL Cool J didn't have tracks like Drake though. LL
Are
Cool J
you
drop
kidding?
a song here and
You
there.
know what? Do we have a commercial?
Wait a minute.
I'm trying not to
Wait
get
a minute.
off this set right now.
Drake can
The
drop
level
an
of
album.
disrespect right now.
It's no LL Cool J is a
Bruh,
legend.
Drake's whole persona is LL from 20 years ago. From 30. What are you talking about? He is the ladies' man with lyrics. That is LL. He didn't do anything new. He just brought up LL in 2010 and did the same thing.
No, because
Oh my
he
God.
can rap
Here we
and
go.
sing.
Here we go.
LL Cool J never sang before.
Oh, man. You never heard I Need Love, man?
That's not a.
Because it's literally that's what Drake does, man. Just because that dude can harmonize some hooks in the background doesn't mean he's a singer, man.
that changed the rap game though.
Future harmonizes hooks.
That's auto tune. Drake actually singing from the.
Oh,
What he said? What is it? I need someone who is patient with me. That whole song is new
I
one.
see you. That's a nice diversion. Because we're gonna get back to you singing Summer Walker in the car by yourself.
It's bops. That's a bop track. That I don't listen to all the
Because I
females
did
out
it.
there.
For this content, but I would never listen to Chloe Bailey by myself ever again. I had a purpose for it. But that's kind of scary that my boy listens to something. That means you do it consistently.
No, she's a great artist that had a really, really good album. Just like SZA had a really good album, except Summer Walker's album was undisputed. It's a bob. I can't. That's like me getting mad at Ian Book for being the winningest quarterback
I'll
of all
give you-
time. He's the winningest
I'll
quarterback
give
of
you
all
the
time.
cultural album for me. Because you know I'm a hip hop baby, right?
Okay.
And I'll never forget the first time I heard Joshua's Tree. You too.
Okay.
I felt like I was cheating on hip hop for a minute.
He got some nice melodies in there.
But U2, it turned me on to U2, and then eventually I got into Red Hot Chili Peppers, and eventually I got into Nirvana.
But these are a couple of songs. These ain't the whole discography, is
No,
it?
I got into like the artists,
Oh,
the artistry.
yeah, you was cheating on hip hop,
Period.
man.
That's what I felt because that's the bulk of my music was one genre, And then once I found myself listening to walking down the hallways of Morgan Park High School, listening to U2 and nobody knew I was listening to U2, I was like, yo, I wonder what they would think if I just took these headphones off right now and they heard what I was listening
They would have
to.
thought it was one of those YouTube commercials. You had to skip through the commercial,
Right.
When them what was that thing called? It wasn't Spotify before Spotify. Pandora. They think you was on a Pandora radio station.
Wow. But that's the beauty of music. And that's why we talk about this, right? So that's our music for today. Let's close out with our lasting thoughts from the final season of Snowfall.
Oh man, what an emotional thing. I'm glad that Franklin got right with his mom in the jail, had to tell her about herself. Because that was real
disrespectful.
that was real selfish.
He did not get right with his mom.
Yeah, he
You
did.
will not label that as getting right with your mom.
He did what he was supposed to because that was messed up. And she had no sympathy. It's like, dang, So Franklin was right. She ruined his life. And she not even gonna say nothing? That's messed up. What do you think?
I was I was sympathetic to his mom. We
Okay.
discussed this, right?
Yes,
We talked
yes.
about it last week. I was sympathetic to his mom's plight and her point of view. Like her whole life, being with the Panthers, being part of the movement, losing her husband to drugs, now losing her son, being entrapped by the CIA and everything.
It was overwhelming.
It was overwhelming for her in that moment. And his last lie to her
It took her over. Yeah,
top.
that's true.
And
That's true.
I mean, she did what she felt like she had to do.
But crashing out right before the end.
So I have empathy for her until she looked at Leon and called him, "You're my greatest surprise."
Wow.
I said, "Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's messed up.
I don't know what mother would be happy with pretty much letting go of her own seed, but then take joy in the best friend's growth." That was just strange to me. I would love to go into the writer's room and ask, like, what led to that dialogue.
Yeah,
because it seems very unnatural for me for a mother to do that.
Yeah, that's tough. Well, she did tell Franklin when they was at the warehouse, she said, listen, we gonna go, and if they whatever, I just want to be there to see it. And then after that, I don't even want to see you no more. So she already was cutting him off back when he had both of those CIA officers in the warehouse and stuff. So it is unfortunate, but maybe that is the result of what the drug game can do to a family.
We all knew Veronique was sneaky.
Yeah, I never trusted her either. And I think Franklin's commitment to her so bad when she just was so like, I would say fickle in the aspect of Franklin was giving everything.
I could never commit to a woman if I was a billionaire, dude.
Yeah, 70. No.
It would be extremely tough to commit to a woman as a millionaire. I'm keeping a buck. It would be hard.
Now, millionaire,
man.
like we talking like
I'm
just
talking about
millionaire.
Literally claiming somebody, calling them my woman. Did you see this new law in Michigan?
No.
Dude, I don't know if it's been put in quite yet, but it was being debated on the state floor in Michigan yesterday. Lawmakers are trying to get this law passed that it's unlawful for you to live together unless you're married.
Damn.
It's
unlawful?
It's unlawful in the state of Michigan.
What's the justification for it?
That's a lot of criminals. You know what I'm saying? If that law gets passed, it's a lot of criminals in the state of Michigan.
Be a lot of stuff going on.
Man.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. He had he put a lot of trust in her.
He did, right?
It was his life, his business. I just don't know. As paranoid as he is,
he should have known that she would be the
one. And I think about it all the time. Unless I had a pre-existing relationship, someone that I've been with for years, and then I come into money like that. But if I had money, it would be very difficult to find the one. And I don't know if it's the money that would change my point of view. I don't know what it would be. I just don't.
Well, it's the pros and cons. It's like what's the value of the relationship at that point when you got everything in that aspect. You can buy you a chick and buy you some fun time and entertainment if it was that serious.
Man,
so you're like
freak me.
So it's like, what is the value of the relationship where I don't have to think about money? And unfortunately, some women out here say, "Take me as I am." and it don't come with nothing much to it. But when you're compared to having being a millionaire, I mean, you just taking in people off the street at that point.
Could you date a regular person as a millionaire?
100%, but that regular person got to be regular. They can't treat me like I'm way above them, because I think that throws off the relationship. If you walking around like I'm Mr. Untouchable because of what I do or the money I got. And I think that they use that as a piece of, oh, I'm not good enough. And then it just goes into a whole thing. So I could definitely date a regular girl. I would just need her to just have the attitude that I'm not regular, but we the same, you know.
So you still want your girl to pull up at the gas station and buy some Funyuns and some sunflower seeds?
If they I mean,
come through the
now
crib?
I don't know what millionaires eat on a snack level, but I'm sure they does anybody know what millionaires eat as a snack? Or they just eating meals and drinking wine and late dinners and stuff.
What's your snack now with your girl?
She likes, which I'm not a fan of cottage cheese, but this thing where they eat the chili cheese chips with the cottage cheese, the Fritos, the chili cheese Fritos with the cottage. See, I can't
You're
do
looking
that.
at me like you're trying to convince me, and there's no way you can convince me. Just go ahead, just.
That's her snack, and I'm like, I can eat the Fritos, but I can't. I wasn't a fan of the cottage cheese, man. I don't know I don't know the mix. I don't know how you even find that mix together where you can run into cottage cheese and Fritos at the same time. Yeah. But that's her snack. My snack is the Rice Krispies,
homemade popcorn with Raisinets.
You put raisins in your popcorn?
Look, man, are you really trying to come in my Raisinets after you just said cottage cheese? Really?
But what's the attraction to a raisin in popcorn?
Don't ask me.
That's just your go-to.
It's the chocolate. It's the chocolate. It's the raisin with the popcorn.
I do like Raisinets a lot.
You should try it then.
But I went from Raisinets, and you know what I messed up on? Started getting Milk Duds. And I can't leave Milk Duds. They just Milk Duds be getting me every time because they be sitting right next to each other on the shelf. And I'm like, man, I was a big fan of Raisinets, but them Milk Duds hard to pass up.
So yeah, ultimately, just like our favorite snacks that are quite unusual, Snowfall had a very unusual ending.
Yes.
It had an ending that I did not expect. I think it was very symbolic. I think it was beautifully done. The relationship everything started with, which was the ecocentric relationship of the entire show.
Yeah.
And that is Franklin and Leon. And
it was good to see Leon not,
for Franklin to say,
I'm proud of you.
I'm free, but at the same time to recognize I could be mad at Leon, but I'm happy for you, bro. You my best friend.
You my best friend.
That right there, when
he
told that dude, you my best friend, I almost shed a tear.
I did. I shed a tear.
I was like, wait a minute. Because that's, I tell my daughter all the time, bro. In life, you're lucky if you get one best friend. If you get one true best friend,
that's real.
Man, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. And if you're blessed to have more than one, consider yourself extremely blessed. And to go through what they've gone through.
Yeah, I mean, he saved him from after he killed a kid and all type of stuff.
He saved that man. Dude, Franklin saved his life
all the time,
multiple times.
Yeah,
multiple times, and it was hard for him to tell Franklin no. Franklin in the last episode comes to him like, "Yo, I need another 500,000," and he's like, "I can't give it to you."
Yeah, he was done after he left Africa. I knew Leon was done with it after he
did the right thing. Like, go, man. Go spend the rest of your life with your wife, man.
Yeah.
And that's hard for people, right? We just had a discussion here.
Look at Tom Brady. Hard for Tom Brady. He got to get a divorce to quit football.
And we can expand it. Whether it's Chicago, here in South Bend, we heard about the unfortunate death of an 11-year-old here in South Bend. And it's just crazy that things are happening like this all over the world still to this day. I mean, it was jumping off when I was in high school, right? We were hearing about drive-bys, and here it is 30 years later, still hearing about drive-bys impacting the community. And that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Like we look forward to impacting the South Bend community, not only today, but in the coming months. When the Tennessee State game is here, we'll be here. Other games in the future, we're dedicated as a
Yeah.
podcast to giving back and paying back to the community. And Exposure Studios
That's right.
is giving back as well. The foundation they have, the classes there, man, check it out.
Mm.
If you're in the South Bend area and you have a child that needs something to do after school, they need to come to Exposure Studios. They need to rock with these guys. They're blessed, they're anointed, and they love what they do.
And you're gonna learn a skill
Absolutely,
that you can
man.
take with you
Absolutely.
beyond this place.
So look, I got Seth Mouse is about to join us. And you got to explain to the people who Seth is.
Seth, man. First of all, thank you for getting on. I know we don't have the link quite ready, but Seth was put on to me by Trevor Morris, a guy that does a lot in the community, especially with kids and the upliftment and the success of kids at their earlier stages of life. I think he has it's called the 5-star group that you run in, Seth. And
Correct.
And it's so interesting to see that how it relates and the value of what he's bringing to these young kids and how it relates to their lives as they get older. Now, unfortunately, sometimes in a community that's on the up and coming, you come across a lot of tragedy on the midst of what's going to be greener on the other side, like Exposure Studios and a lot of what Seth is doing. So, but I'll let Seth explain more. But thank you, Seth, for getting on again with us so much.
No, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. Unfortunately, there was a tragedy yesterday, and every time we hear, tragedy in the news, you just kind of hold your breath, just hoping, praying it's not one of the kids that you work with. And unfortunately, I got the call this morning that it was one of our 5-star kids. And 11-year-old kid, 11 years old, just crazy. And so we met as a staff this morning, prayed for him, spoke to the young man's mother, and she was just, obviously it's heart-wrenching, but obviously you just want to support in any way you can, and that's what we do. But she shared a story. She said, the last 5-star session we were at, which I'll explain in a minute what 5-star is, but she said the last session we were at, we actually talked about gun violence. And we talked about the fact that at the root of gun violence, at the root of all this killing, is what you believe about yourself. When people don't know who they are, and when they believe lesser things about themselves, it's amazing how they devalue themselves to the point where they don't care if they take a life. They don't really care if they lose a life because there's no value either way.
Yeah.
And the mom just shared that in that session, they were asked to write down what they believe about themselves, how they feel about themselves. And one of the things that this young man wrote was, and the mom was in tears, like she was sobbing, trying to get this out. She said, he wrote on his paper, this was 2 weeks ago, he wrote on his paper, I feel loved.
Wow.
And that is one thing that a distraught mom is hanging on to this morning, less than 24 hours after losing her baby. So keep her in your prayers, keep that family in your prayers, please.
Well, Seth, we don't want the work that you're doing in the community to become any less or feel any less based upon this tragedy. Talk a little bit more about 5-star and everything you're doing.
Sure. So we started 18 years ago, and we started because of the alarming epidemic of 7,000 kids dropping out of school every single school day. And so a group of us began to dig a little deeper and find out why it was that so many kids were dropping out of school. And if you asked 10 people, you get 10 different answers. Parents would blame teachers would blame parents. Business people would blame politicians. Politicians would blame all kinds of things, right? And so everybody's pointing the finger, and we said, look, what does research say? And there's a little bit of research 18 years ago out of California, out of Stanford, that said if you want to move the needle at the heart and core of a person's success or failure is the operating system. And that operating system determines how we look at ourselves in the mirror, how we feel about ourselves, our behavior, how we treat the people on our left and our right, our work ethic, our dreams, our goals. Everything is tied up in that core operating system that we refer to as a mindset. And so this research said, if you want to move the needle, you got to target the core of a kid. You got to get to their mindset. And we've been trying to produce change from the outside in, and it's really just like slapping Band-Aids. What we've got to do is we've got to do heart and mind surgery, and we've got to create change, and the ripple comes from the inside out. And so that's what we committed to doing 18 years ago. And guess what? It worked. So we started in one school with a handful of kids, and now it's grown from Michigan all the way to Florida, and is reaching tens of thousands of kids a week. And it's interesting, the timing of this tragic moment. We actually, 2 years ago, we had one of our kids in one of our programs. We have a sports program, 5-star basketball. And we had a young man who was just on his way to practice, and somebody walked up on him and shot him in the head. And we were enraged. We were heartbroken. But we made a vow we were going to do something to fight back against the violence. And what happened was we formed a partnership between 5-Star Life, the South Bend PD, and the Juvenile Justice Center. And we formed, one of the things that came out of it was forming a program called the SNAP Leadership Program. So these kids that are in the streets that are getting into small trouble when it's a small fox, reaching them younger. The caveat, it's not just for the kid, it's for the parent as well. And so I was just at this program Wednesday night. We were talking about gun violence. We were talking about this very thing and how Tyler Brown's tragedy turned to triumph because now we're helping all kinds of families, all kinds of kids. It is a tragedy that this young man was not given the opportunity to play this program out long enough to see it positively impact his life. But we're going to dig our heels in deeper to take our impact even deeper. So that's a nutshell of who and what we are. We work with public schools, we work with detention centers, kids on probation, and we reach tens of thousands of kids. And we have a 350-acre training facility where actually we just had Tion, the young man that was killed. Him and his mother were not able to join us this past Saturday, but the other 30 kids and families were able to join us up at our ranch where they were riding horses. They were climbing and conquering the ropes course. It was just a beautiful, powerful day of reinforcement and experiential learning that really reached into their heart and mind and helped them think about who they are and where they want to go.
And for those that don't want to get caught up in the minutia of passing the buck, how can one hear you today and say, I want to get involved with 5-Star and contribute and give back? How can they go about doing that?
That's right.
Just go to 5starlife.org. So it's the word 5, the word star, the word life.org. Go to our website. There's ways to get involved, to volunteer for one of these programs, to become a mentor. You can bring 5-Star curriculum to a school or detention center near you. We've already, get this, since we've started working with the St. Joseph County Juvenile Justice Center, the recidivism rate for kids that get into trouble and then re-offend was 70%. Right now, in the first 10 months, we're at 6% since they've started referring kids to 5-Star.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's really good.
Once again, Seth Mouse joins us right here in the Lucky Lefty podcast. Look, Seth, words cannot, I don't have the words to express everything that you're doing and what you're giving back, but I will say this. You know, you have friends and myself and Malik and the Lucky Lefty podcast. Anything that you need, I'm in Chicago. I'm an hour away. Please let me know. I'll stay in contact with you. I'll definitely be supporting 5-Star, and I'm here for the battle. I'm here for the battle because it is truly indeed a battle. I'm someone that has mentored children in the Chicago area for 20 years, and you're exactly right. We have to go at the heart of these young people, and we have to care.
We gotta
And
care, yeah.
people like you, Seth, you definitely care, and it's good to know that the people of South Bend and people around this nation have someone like you supporting their youth.
Well, that's very kind, and I love your not only your words, but I can tell you mean it. You have conviction, and let's allow this tragedy to go in and push back against this darkness. We can change this.
Yeah,
we really can. So let's do it together. Thank you very much for your support.
Seth, we thank you so much for
Thank you,
joining the
Seth.
Lucky Lefty
Thank you.
podcast.
Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Once again, Seth Mouse, 5-star, joining us right here. Look, this is why we did it. When
That's right.
everything was put together and our guy Trevor contacted us, he had seen our podcast. He had no clue of my background.
Right.
Other than broadcast, he had no clue that I worked with kids in the Chicago
That's so
area.
funny. He had no clue.
And if you want to make me cry, start talking about kids.
Yeah.
Like I'm done.
That's a
It's
weak
my
point.
kids and my dad. That's it.
Real
Those are
shit,
two
man.
things that make me cry. Summer Walker doesn't do it, by the way.
That's
But,
okay. It's a bop though. It's a bop.
But not only 5-star the work that Seth Mouse is doing, but also Fraser Kids Foundation
That's right.
in conjunction with Exposure Studios right here in the South Bend area. The programs they have coming up, I believe they have some 6-week programs coming up. If you need information, I'm sure you can go and research, Google Fraser Kids Foundation and also Exposure Studios. Get your kids involved.
And like we talked
Invest.
about, it's not about the spot. It's about who you're bringing with you to
Talk
the
on
spot.
it, Left. Talk about
They
it.
always say it's nothing to do out here, but there's plenty to do. Fraser Kids Foundation is one of those. Exposure Studios is one of those that, it's about what you make it. The resources are here, the opportunities are here, and if it's not fun, it's because of you. Because this is fun to me.
Absolutely.
Learn how to edit is fun to me. I can do that by myself, but if you want to bring a group, y'all can put a project together that can turn into a series. It can turn into anything. So the potential of growth in finding skills other than the common things that get you out of your situation, this is a lot safer, a lot less money. You can spend all day doing this stuff, and it has a lot of transitory value where you don't have to have it's taxing on your body or whatever. So it's always fun when you do it more than one and bring people with you, but there's always something to do. It's about how you have an experience there.
Yeah. The next John Singleton can come out of Fraser Kids Foundation.
I'm saying we just watched Snowfall, how it
we just
gave
got
us all of
talking
that.
about Snowfall and the impact, and how John Singleton always wanted to tell the story of South LA.
That's right.
He wanted to tell the story, and he did it in a multiplicity of ways.
And you can make
There's
a Snowfall in here.
There's so many stories about South Bend that have been yet to be told. South Bend is more than the University of Notre Dame.
And it doesn't have to just be about crack in the 80s. There's plenty of stories in South Bend to tell, and you can do it here. A lot of people they want to do it through music. That's a way. But this visual way, it could take you a lot further.
Who is the biggest MC to come out of South Bend? Was there anyone popping locally when you were here?
Man, South Bend got his whole culture that I'm very, very fine.
See, I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah, there's some rappers for sure.
I would definitely be intrigued by the underground or the hip hop scene in South Bend.
It's closely tied to Chicago. You get people from Chicago get influenced out here, and vice versa.
Wait a minute. So basically, you're saying you feel like Chicago's been influenced by South Bend.
No,
I want to make sure I get clear.
No. Local talent in South Bend is influenced by Chicago type music. That's all I'm saying.
What type though?
There's
you got West Side, you got South Side. It's a lot of different types.
So there's house music. That's Chicago house, right? Chicago house.
Definitely.
Music. And then you got the drill scene.
Okay.
Then you got the boom bap rap.
The boom bap is definitely common from the South Side. And Kanye.
And yeah.
No
So
ID.
there's
That's
definitely
that whole
a ton.
lineage, that tree.
definitely a ton of influence from South. But the thing about when you have influence, you take inspiration, you build it into your own thing. So I think South Bend has its own sound because of that, but it has some Chicago influence.
I'll be very interested in a short mini film on the hip hop scene. I mean, I'm a hip hop head, so I'm
Yeah.
always interested in the hip hop scenes in various cities and the birth and how it started, and that's what's up. I'll
Because you
never
can
forget.
always come to Dayton.
I'll
And
never forget the first time. Same cousin that went to Tennessee State. Same cousin.
Sean got the best cousins in the
Man,
world, by
I'm
the
telling
way.
you, man. But both his parents graduated from UAPB.
Oh, really?
So
There you go.
one is a Delta, the other one is a Q.
That's usually how it
So
goes.
man, going to their household in Michigan as a kid, it was like, man, this is a different experience. And I'll never forget. That was the first time I heard a live radio show in the club on the Friday night on WJLB
Wow.
in Detroit.
A live radio
I was
show.
like, they are doing a live
in the
radio
club.
show from the club. Who does this? Like, this is bananas.
That's the next level.
Right? I remember going up there for the summer, rocking my African medallion.
There you go.
Right? Because that was the movement, right?
Yep, that's the way.
At that point in time. You remember how they used to put the bedazzled joints in the new era hats?
On the sides.
So, Georgia Tech was my favorite basketball squad. So I had the Georgia Tech with, the gold bedazzled, jewels
Georgia Tech
and the
basketball.
GT logo.
Okay.
Had the hat. And I'm riding through Jackson, Michigan. And Ain't No Future in Your Front comes on. It's the summertime.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this?
Something different.
I took it back to Chicago.
There you go. Taking something back to Chicago. You took sleepers back. You took this back.
I took it back to Chicago, and people lost their mind.
Yeah.
Like, who is this? I'm like, it's MC Breed.
Yeah.
Where is he from? He's from Lansing.
People don't know about the Michigan rap scene.
No, Michigan rap scene is tough.
It's
Throughout
a
the
lot.
entire state. It's not just Detroit.
That's what I'm saying. It's throughout the entire
Throughout the
state.
entire state. And that's
Detroit,
why I say
obviously, but
I'm very interested. We have to make that happen. I have to come back up here, sit down with some of the OGs of the hip hop scene
that's right.
in South Bend. I would do a Lucky Lefty podcast.
Yeah, do a
Strictly on
shop.
that.
We can add some more seats. It's a great studio. Got everything you need.
Absolutely.
Then we can go make some music in the back. I got a recording studio in the back. Look, this is the place, Exposure Studios. You will get exposed to a whole bunch of stuff that you don't think you even had available in South Bend. We got 3 cameras right here.
Man.
I didn't even know you need 3 to shoot a podcast.
Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, CFB Nation. Go to CFB Nation right now. Search CFB Nation. We pop up. Not only us, Lucky Lefty Podcast, CFB All American, Rise and Drive with our guy Ryan Roberts. You need to listen to that over the next week.
That's right.
NFL Draft first round is next Thursday. So get in tune. CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. We give you the audio edibles.
That's right.
Each and every day.
Snacks.
We're the home of the misguided passion. And we spend it different.
The home of the misguided passion. That's
we can't take credit for that. We got that. Jack Swarbrick gave us that name. He literally gave us that name.
He gave us the misguided passion label.
We're the home of the misguided passion. Hey.
We just
the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different.
That's what we spin it different. That's right.
As we get ready to close on what has been a momentous occasion. Once again, thank you to the guys here at Fraser Kids Foundation. How they ingratiated themselves to us, the love they showed. We appreciate you guys so much.
Yeah.
Each and every one of you.
We will be back.
Studios, we definitely will be back. We're definitely coming back for the Tennessee State.
They already marked on the calendar. We got a bunch of events planned.
I don't think South Bend is ready
to have a clash of the cultures. I mean, you bring it two apple and an orange, making a fruit salad with this one. This is something that everybody should experience because it's something for everybody.
What is that? Ambrosia? With the apple? Isn't it a salad with both oranges and apples in it? Is that ambrosia?
I don't like fruit in my food though. The Wendy's used to do that. They used to put the mandarin oranges in the salad at Wendy's. Ever since then, I stopped liking fruit in my.
No, Waldorf is strictly walnuts, raisins, and apples. I think Ambrosia has both of them, if I'm not mistaken.
How do you mix the two? It's a texture thing. You know, the fruit with the,
Hey,
the
you know
salad.
what? The Ambrosia salad is pretty good, bro. I mean,
I'll just have it with the fruit on the side. I might have to just eat the fruit and then go back and forth.
it's only right that we end today's show talking about blue and gold game tomorrow. But let's be honest. We love Notre Dame football, but
That fight
it
tomorrow.
probably takes second place
Second place
to the fight tomorrow night for most people. Like, we leave the game, but the most important thing is, where are you going to be tomorrow night,
Watching
11
that
o'clock
fight.
p.m. Eastern Time in South Bend, when Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis make their ring entrance.
Because I'm excited about that. The spring game is great. We love the
Yes.
spring game.
By
We'll
all
talk
means,
about it. We'll be
Fantastic.
there.
That's why we're here.
But that fight tomorrow.
Yes.
I've been waiting all month. I've been waiting a long time for this.
You still riding the Tank?
I want Tank to win because
Ryan
I think
Garcia is really charismatic, isn't he?
he's
He'll make
charismatic,
you
but
pull
it's a
for him.
fool. It'll fool you. I think it'll fool you because he's just too like, oh, he can't take this guy serious. I don't think Tank is taking him serious.
Man.
I don't think Tank is taking
I
him
love
serious.
his family, the relationship with his mom and dad, how they invested in his career, believed in his dream. He just has a fantastic
Great story. Great, and he's a great
Right?
kid.
Christian
Like,
family. They talk about going to church together.
yeah.
Yo,
It's like, how are you a boxer? Like Tank said, like, you shouldn't be boxing, bro. You should
not
be
boxing.
you should be doing
Right?
something, certain the Lord's work.
Right. Exactly. And he is a stone
Cold
killer.
killer.
in
Oh
boxing
man.
gloves.
That's why it's such a dynamic. That's what I'm ready to see.
He is like the new, a matter of fact, yes, I believe he's managed by Oscar De La Hoya.
Yep.
So he is the modern age Oscar De La Hoya, the pretty boy.
No, for sure. I mean, he fits it. It's the new generation pretty boy against a new generation Floyd in his own right.
Would you allow your sons, if you were doing UFC or boxing, would you allow your sons to come to the fight?
If I knew I was going, I have to
How
be
do
like,
you know for sure?
you
It's
don't know
one
for
lucky
sure. You
punch.
don't know for sure. That's true.
Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson, man. Like,
But I bet you Buster Douglas' kids wasn't there. You see what I'm saying? He was like, look, I'm going to go try, but y'all cheer for me on TV. I can't see this. Because at that
like
time,
in the
Mike
newest Creed, his daughter was at ringside, right?
yeah. That's interesting. Would you bring your kids to the fight?
No, I have a daughter.
I would to
I don't
boxing.
even want my daughter to see me get hit.
Yeah, that's true.
I have to be the biggest giant in her life at all times. I have to be invincible. There's nothing that can hurt me at all.
Yeah, you can't put yourself at dads out there.
That
Don't
is
put
my
yourself at
dad.
that.
Matter of fact, cut the electricity off in the home. She can't even watch it.
Yeah. We had to shut the whole block down.
Man, no. I couldn't bring my children.
Because just imagine the Israel style bender fight. He done imitated his son, imitating him, getting knocked out.
That was really.
That's why I'm like,
And he walks up to.
He walked Tony. Said, hey, that's wild. That's why you can't bring your kids to that type of function.
Which leads us to the press conference yesterday. Weigh-in is today, right?
Yep.
Presser was yesterday. And Tank tells Ryan Garcia, don't let your kids come to the fight, man.
It's gonna be ugly.
Because I'm gonna knock you out.
And Ryan Garcia is such a good-hearted dude. He doesn't know how to respond in that type of environment.
I think he thought Tank was playing.
Yeah, I think he really thought Tank was playing. Tank's like, no, I'm breaking your jaw for sure. And he's like, yeah, okay, yeah. It's gonna be a great fight. Because I don't think you can sleep on Ryan Garcia. I don't think you can sleep on him.
It's already hard enough on the spouses.
Oh man,
the significant others.
They always catch them when whoever loses, they always catch the wife crying or something great dramatic. That's messed up. That's messed up. You can't take your girl there.
Can you imagine your brother being in the ring and you have to watch him get hit? And you're the big brother? Your natural inclination is to go protect. but you can't.
Yeah, you can't do nothing because he might beat you up. Dude in there might beat you up too. You like, if you ain't get no smoke.
Like, how is that? But no, that is the nature of boxing. That is the biggest thing tomorrow, outside of the blue and gold game.
Mm-hmm.
Predictions? You got Team Washington or Team McCullough?
Who drafted Javon Payne? McCullough,
Team Washington.
Team McCullough, my God. I might have to go Washington. I think if you picking Javon Payne as your first pick, you got something as a strategy. You got a
You
strategy.
go overboard with this Ohio stuff.
What do you mean? Look, a guy that hasn't played yet get picked number one by his teammates. We might have a Heisman running back on our hands.
Lucky Lefty podcast. You know what time it is right now. We will be playing the intro to the Petty Train.
Yeah, is that come on? Can we hear the cue the music?
Don't worry about it. It's the pettiest story of the day. We do it each and every day to end the show. Who's on the Petty Train?
Oh man,
Dylan Brooks has to be on the Petty Train.
He's got to because he's forcing himself to be something that I don't think he is. You call LeBron old? That's disrespectful.
LeBron is old though.
What's the
Oh,
old to
it's
what?
okay.
But old to what?
Sports in general is a young man's game.
LeBron is 38. He's
to
still
the rest of the league.
He's a young man.
Look,
because them numbers, let me tell
he's
you,
a fantastic physical specimen.
those
He
numbers.
takes care of himself. So wait a minute. You just talked about Tom Brady being old, but LeBron's not old.
Tom Brady is so old that he had to get a divorce to quit playing football. LeBron's so young. They renewed their vows.
It's not official though, right?
What's not?
The divorce is official. They filed.
She had to, because she's like, Tom, you're 40-something years old, still doing this? Oh, I got to get out of here. That's the signifying you're old.
She played a card.
She played.
I think
she's been playing the
back
card
together though.
Well, yeah, he had to quit. When he quit, I think she'll listen.
She'll listen.
She'll listen. I don't know if she's gonna take her back, but they live next door to each other on some petty. That's petty. You live next door to your halfway separated wife. That's petty.
There's nothing wrong with Bron being old, man. He's still one of the top 5 players in the league.
Top 5, top 3.
I'm being generous.
Oh,
but hey,
who are you picking over Bron right now?
Well, I'm
Don't
always
say KD because he's hurt.
Taking KD.
He's hurt all the time. Can he stay healthy to be even
Did
nominated?
you just asked me a question.
Oh, okay.
Okay. KD.
When he's available, you got to add
Steph,
that.
easily.
You saw them shots he was taking fourth quarter against the Kings?
Who won the championship?
Wait a minute. That shot selection in the fourth quarter, you picking that?
MVP last year, in the year that Bron didn't make the playoffs.
Well, who won the year before Bron? The bubble championship.
You count the bubble?
It's the hardest place to win.
Really?
Yeah, you there stuck on an island for 3 months, can't have no contact with your family.
Lined up and played each other on video games.
You think about the off the court where you can't see your family. You're stuck in a hotel room eating Disney lasagna 4 days out the week.
NBA, right? Wait a minute. You want to talk about NBA players and their families?
Wait a minute.
Is that what we're doing?
I'm talking about Bron. You know how?
Oh, that's right. Bron is perfect.
He had to sit in that hotel room without Savannah for 3 or 4 months. Shoot, I would have won too, because that wouldn't have been worth it if I lost. So, shout out Bron, hardest championship won. This one that they won, this last one. Come on, Steph. There wasn't even no competition.
I don't think there's any athlete that kicks it more or spends less time with their families than NBA players. So the logic that Malik is using right now is like, okay, but if you want to rock with that, I will get us to Bron though. In the off season, you see him supporting his kids at their games.
That's right.
Playing house and
you doing playing house
tea party with Lil Mama in the backyard. No, that's what he does, right?
He's a great dad.
His little daughter runs everything.
For sure.
She might as well be the CEO of the entire
LeBron Adventures and everything therefore. But that just shows you what a strong family can do. Can get you 20 years in the league, man.
Yep, can't get you 6 championships. All right. Just had to throw my little Chicago dig. Lucky podcast. Thank you guys for joining us today. Once again, shout out the Fraser Kids Foundation,
Shout out.
Exposure Studios for hosting us right here in South Bend. It's been a great show, great conversation for the Culture Friday.
That's right.
Apple Podcast, Spotify, CFB Nation. Go lock us in right now. Subscribe to us on YouTube. For the original Lucky Lefty himself, I am Sean Davis. We bid you adieu.
That's right.
Until Monday, when we come back and we talk about the blue and gold game and what's to look forward to for fall camp. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. Have a great day, a great weekend, but most of all, you got to make sure that you spin it different. We'll see you guys Monday.